All right, it's almost go time. We're gonna do a quick video just to conversate about this Terence Crawford thing. All right, it's almost go time. All right, that was just a sound check, real quick. All right, man. So let me get this straight. We ain't gonna waste too much time. We're gonna go ahead and get this knocked out. Give you my position. All right, man. So first thing first, let me start by saying this. The title of the video is "Why Terence Crawford Should Go to 168 Pounds." It's a response video to 78 Sports TV. Trying to bring back the response video. We don't always got to get on live. Sometimes it's just good conversations. This is also a shout out to Easy Work and Gambino. I was on Money Brown's panel last night. Me and him touched on this along with the OGKQKC. So shout out to everybody that's been conversating about this boxing topic of sports as it pertains to Terence Crawford and what is and what ain't and what he should do and the hypotheticals that followed after the fact that he defeated Earl Spence Jr. Now, so this is my opinion and this is my thought. I agree with your personal opinion about what you believe, meaning that whatever, like 78 Sports TV, Easy Work, Gambino, Money Brown, and those who are talking about the subject of boxing, talking about the subject of Terence Crawford and what is and what ain't and what to do next, I absolutely believe and support your opinion. So this is not necessarily to oppose your opinion directly or and challenge it. It is a response to the subject matter and what I believe. Now, what I think and what I believe could be in opposition to what you believe. It's not a challenge. It's just adding a different perspective to the table. So this Terence Crawford situation, for me, Terence Crawford is and has proven to be the man at 135. Cleaned it out, 140 undisputed, got up to 147, became undisputed, and he fought the fighters that he should have fought. And he's performed and created separation against the fighters that he has faced so far. And he's made a great career out of doing that. And it is a very accomplished career. Now we're on the back end of Terence Crawford's career. And one of the things that's going to happen for him since beating Earl Spence Jr. is that there's going to be a lot of financial opportunities, a lot more consistently than what may have existed prior to fighting Earl Spence Jr. So now there's options on the table, such as, first off, the rematch with Earl Spence Jr., which was a hit for the first fight, and Terence Crawford did what he had to do in the first fight. So now there's the rematch. I don't know what that would sell like. I don't know what that would be like. I assume, just for the benefit of the doubt, that it will be a huge fight and maybe bigger and better to some degree at 154 because of the excuses and the point outs that people have stated about Earl Spence and what could have went wrong in regards to at 147. So there's a fight with Earl Spence at 154. There's also a fight for Terence Crawford at 154 with Tim Tszyu. The fight with Tim Tszyu is gaining a lot of traction, and it has a lot of people curious, or some people curious, about a possible fight with Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford at 154. There's also another play on deck, which is a fantasy fight between Tank Davis and Terence Crawford at 147. And there was also the play on the table, which was Charlo versus Terence Crawford at 154. So we got a lot of moving parts for Terence Crawford, and they all seem to be lucrative fights at the minimum. Rematch with Earl Spence at 154, a fight with Tim Tszyu, who has a massive following, at 154, which will probably most likely be for the WBO vacated title. Once Charlo step in the ring in September, obviously some stripping is going to take place here and there at 154, which is going to create opportunities for maybe Tim Tszyu and maybe or Terence Crawford, okay? And maybe Terence Crawford and Tim Tszyu get into a deal where they could maybe fight later that year, depending on what Earl Spence decide to do. I've been informed and I've been told maybe that Earl Spence is going to take a break. He's not going to do the immediate rematch. He's going to use all the allotted time that he has to actually exercise his rematch clause, which apparently goes through 2024. Okay, that's respectable. Maybe Earl Spence got to work out some kinks to come back stronger, bigger, better, and maybe even have a fight in between, which, in my opinion, while we're here, I think that Earl Spence Jr. should revamp himself, go and tweak some things, make sure he takes a break because he's been working hard. He's been through a lot, get his body all the way right, heal all the way up. And I think that he should go and probably fight somebody like Keith Thurman, who can help him acclimate to the attributes that Terence Crawford has, which is fast twitch muscles, speed, leg movement, and a person who's not ashamed to use their legs in their lateral movement or their front and backwards movements. And they got hand speed with power. So I just think that Keith Thurman versus Earl Spence is long overdue. And I think that that fight should take place at 154, which I think that I think that Earl Spence made a mistake by not fighting in between Ugas and Terence Crawford. I think he should have took the Keith Thurman fight when he had a chance at 154, so he could have got a gauge on that fight. But I understand you at 147, you a fight away from undisputed. You don't want to ruin that. You have respect for Terence Crawford, so I respect Earl Spence for that. But now he's no longer champion, and now he no longer is obligated to hold down the division from a accomplishments and accolades standpoint. That is Terence Crawford's responsibility right now because he's currently undisputed at 147. So again, moving forward, we got the lay of the land. Okay, so the people who are talking about these fantasy matchups for us, the boxers, are pound for pound good guys that are considered to be moving in the space of ATG in this generation. So when it started to come to this Canelo and this Crawford proposed fight, in addition to all the fights that Crawford have to his disposal, which is, again, the possible fantasy fight between him and Gervonta Davis at 147. And I like that. I like that for Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is one of the pound for pound guys, and he's close enough to 2 pound for pound guys himself, which is anyway. And the other person is going to be Terence Crawford. So we got a situation where Tank is trying to jump up 2 weight classes and face somebody who's north of him pound for pound, which is Terence Crawford. That's an ATG win. Or he got Inoue, who's underneath him, who's trying to do the same thing, who's also been undisputed. Because out of the pound for pound pack, when you look at it, when you look at the players who we're talking about fighting each other, mixing it up, you got to think about something. You got Canelo Alvarez at 168, undisputed pound for pound on the list. He's already been put in his place at 175 to be corrected to get back down to 168. We already know he's limited at 175. But Turbia and Bivol is no jokes. They're not allowing that pound for pound nonsense. These guys coming from 147 to jump up 75, 68ers coming up to 75, 60s to jump up to 75. But Turbia and Bivol seems to have a handle and a complete control over that 175 pound division. And the key factor was when Bivol spanked Canelo and put him back in his place, that's exactly what he did, put him back in his place. So there's a cutoff right there at 168. That's 68, 60, 54, 47, 35, 40, 30, all the way down to anyway, down to 22, okay? Those are where the pound for pound boxers reside at the current moment, the ones who always come up on the list, okay? You got Inoue that comes up on the list. He's been undisputed. You got Tank Davis, who's coming up on the list. He's the only one that hasn't been undisputed. And then you got Terence Crawford at 147, who's been undisputed twice. And then you have Jermell Charlo, who comes up on the list, who's been undisputed at 154. 160 has no action. 160 is completely wide open. There's nobody representing the pound for pound list at 160. It's completely open. And then you have 168. You have Canelo Alvarez, who's undisputed at 68 in pound for pound. And the cutoff is at 175 because the 68er that we feel this pound for pound that can go up and continue to push pound for pound got beat back down to 68 by Bivol. So the buck stops at 175. Crawford Charlo, none of those guys are going to go up to 75 and beat Vittorio of no Bivol. We don't believe that. We don't care how pound for pound you is. Not Crawford, not Jamel, not Jamal, not Andrade, not Benavidez, not Canelo, not Caleb Plant, not Janibek, not anyway. That ain't gonna happen up at to 175. 75 got itself two monsters up there. That is the cutoff. So that's something totally different. We know this is going to reside between Inoue and Canelo for us, the undisputed pound for pound list. These guys can mix it up. I kind of don't agree with the sentiment that 78 laid out about this notion of getting someone hurt or trying to set someone up for failure. Now, I know that can exist, but I'm not talking to those ridiculous type of fans or those emotional type of fans. I'm just talking from a position of I want to see Crawford fight Canelo at 168 because of a collective situation and collective scenario that is going on. And then I break it down from the macro to the micro to say, hey, this is where I believe Crawford could fit it in this space. This is why this fight makes sense to me. So for me, I have the same standard for all these pound for pound guys. I'm proud of each and every last one of them. Thank God we're getting undisputed because I've been waiting on this for a long time since I've been watching boxing, like a consistent lineage of undisputed champions. And I'm grateful for that because it clears up boxing. I don't mind a guy, putting the belts back, doing what it is that they need to do to give other people opportunities. But I'm just grateful that these guys have achieved pound for pound through some type of undisputed run and streak. So starting with Inoue, I believe that Inoue is not exempt. I think Inoue can jump up and fight Tank Davis. I think that's a complete fair fight. I think that's a good pound for pound stretch. I think it puts Inoue further up the pound for pound list if he could jump up and beat Tank. That's the guy who's within reach to him. That's the guy who needs to be daring to be great. If there's a dare to be great moment for Inoue, that moment right now is Tank Davis, considering the fact that Tank Davis is on the list. Now, when I'm talking about these pound for pound guys, this doesn't exclude the competition within their own division. We're going to get to that. I get how that goes because you have undisputed fighters and undisputed fans that want to see cleanouts and a consistent level of fighting within the division, as opposed to all these belt hops. Some fans like to see the belt hops. They like to see the diversity in the catalog. They like to see the diversity in attaining a belt here and there. They don't need to necessarily see a clean out. They just want to see a diversified resume. Some people like consistency on the undisputed track. Some people like the fantasy availabilities with the big money purses and big money fights. It's twofold. You got a pound for pound fighter, pound for pound fans, and then you have an undisputed fighter and undisputed fans. And then you have a hybrid of a combination of two. Someone who just want to see the best fight the best, which is an overused term by some people because it's a spectrum. It's a range. So now with that being understood and with that being said, man, I believe that Inoue is on the pound for pound list. He's a dog, and I believe that he is capable and able to jump up and face Tank Davis. That is not a pick on. That is not a bad thing. That is not a setting him up for something. That is not, I hate Asians. I just want to see him lose. I have nothing invested in the downfall of none of these boxers outside of just me predicting what I believe is going to happen when it comes to the sports. Okay, that's all it is, man. So I think that Inoue could very well be benefited from jumping up and challenging himself and fighting Tank Davis while he has the chance. Okay, he had a skill set. He got the skill set. And Pacquiao is investing and has shown interest that he wants Inoue to move up, in his personal opinion, and he wants to get in Inoue camp. I don't know where that stands at right now. That's what Pacquiao said. Pacquiao wants to be. He's saying, if I read an article, it's out there. If Inoue was to start to transition up, Pacquiao is saying and have shown interest in wanting to be there for Inoue moves up. And I like that because Pacquiao is a perfect person who can kind of give testimony or experience toward moving up. Tank Davis is stocky, but he's not out of the realm far as dimensional wise, for as body structure of fighting anyway. That is not a far-fetched concept. Okay, these are grown adult men that are professionals. The only thing they have to do is discover and tweak their bodies and work on their skills all day, every day. These guys are millionaires. These guys are paid. These guys got the top of the line access to the top of the line equipment, to the top of the line trainers in the world. These guys are not working at Publix and then coming home raising 7-6 kids. These guys are not Cinderella men. Okay, these are professional boxers that are paid to have the liberty and leisure to make these challenges and jump up and take these challenges. They don't do nothing but fight twice a year. They have all the time in the world to manipulate the weight, gain weight, eat proper nutrition, all the way up into a pound for pound, all-time great fantasy matchup, if you want to call it that. So Inoue is not exempt. I do think Inoue should jump up and fight Tank. I would love to see it. I will pay for it. I also think that Tank should jump up if he's willing and he wants to fight Terence Crawford at 147, because I think those guys are in pound for pound range. I think for Tank Davis, a fight with Inoue, I would get that one, and I would try to get Terence Crawford while I can, if it were me, so that I can move up the scale, because I don't see Tank going past 147, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I see Tank going up to fight Jamel at 154 for his undisputed title. That's just my opinion. But if Tank can get and secure a fight with Inoue, okay, who's Pacquiao's interested in, and then Mayweather's obviously with Gervonta Davis, this is going to be a big, huge fight, because Pacquiao is supporting Inoue and Mayweather's supporting your boy Tank Davis. That's going to be a remixing of the experiences that we had with those two, but without them two actually fighting. It's just Pacquiao, Mayweather always going to sell tickets. They're always going to be intriguing, especially when them two guys are in opposition to each other. That's just the way that's going to go. Now, Tank versus Terence Crawford, I think Tank has something there. I think Tank beats Inoue, okay? And I think Tank got something for Crawford. I just think Crawford is going to be too long, too mobile, too fast, and way too out of range for Tank Davis. I think Tank has some intangibles. I think he got some power. I think he's patient. But I just think he's not going to have the physical attributes to exploit what it is that Terence Crawford is going to do. It will be comparable to Mikey Garcia not being able to execute against Earl Spence because of the lack of physical intangibles that Mikey Garcia did not have, like the range and the reach and the speed to catch Earl Spence and do what it is that he needed to do. So Tank versus Terence Crawford would be equivalent to that for me. But let's see what happens, if it happens. Now, as far as moving on from Tank, now let's move on up to what options Terence Crawford has. Terence Crawford has the option of everything we listed earlier. Earl Spence rematch. Jamel was an option, but he's taking himself out because he's fighting Canelo. But Jamel is still an option at 168. So Crawford still is saying that he wants to fight Jamel Charlo. It's just that he knows that now that the word is that the WBO is going to strip Jamel, so they can't fight at 154 for undisputed in a one-stop shop. And Jamel sees the opportunity to get the Canelo fight. You cannot fault Canelo for that, and this is why. Because for years and for decades, there's been a class of fighters that have been wanting to fight Canelo at all costs, and that list is long. It's been Sergio Martinez. It was Miguel Cotto, and some of these fights obviously happened. Miguel Cotto. There's Jamel. There was Jamal. There was Andrade. There was Daniel Jacobs. There was Erislandy Lara. There was Austin Trout. There was Shane Mosley. There was Floyd Mayweather. There was even talks of Pacquiao trying to get in on the Canelo sweepstakes at an earlier point in the career at a similar catchweight. So Canelo has always had a laundry list of people that wanted to share the ring with him. And I don't know why these boxers are so career obsessed with Canelo, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about that. If these fighters are going to continue to mention Canelo's name and continue to feel Grateful for an opportunity to fight Canelo. That allows Canelo to have multiple options, and that is what it is. You cannot fault him for that because guys who have grown with him over the years, up from 154 all the way up to 168, they're getting their opportunity. Of course, they're going to want to jump the back of the line. I'm sorry, not the back. They're going to want to jump the front of the line. So this is a fight that's overdue and is still right and is still good with Jamel versus Canelo, and if Maul get in there, that's going to be good as well too. If Andrade get in there, that'll be good too. Ultimately, we already know that we want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. That's not even a thing. We also want to see Tank fight Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney and all them at 135. We also do want to see Crawford maybe face Boots or Keith Thurman at 147. And we also want to see Anyway go ahead and clean up his division and become undisputed again. So, yes, there's work around these guys, but these guys are in a pound-for-pound bracket. Jamel is probably the only one to me that is truly cleaned out 154 with the undisputed tag. I don't really think there's anything else at 154 outside of, you could say, the Zoo fight. Fedora fell on his own sword, so that's no longer really that intriguing. But Tim Tszyu, which he was scheduled to fight, they had some injuries, both of them, that delayed the fight, and then the materialization of Canelo versus Mayo presented itself. It is what it is. It's just that's how it's going to go. Canelo is the man. People want to fight him. I'm not knocking that. If they're going to continue to build their career around Canelo, I'm not in the game of arguing with that no more. That's ridiculous. If Mayo want him, Maul want him, Spence want him, Crawford want him, it is what it is. It just leaves Canelo with multiple options, and I'm supporting that. Now, however, Mayo and Terence Crawford can't fight right now at 154 for undisputed. That would have been for massive glory. It would have been two brothers. It would have been two guys that could have possibly sold and made a lot of money. But Mayo decided to go up and fight Canelo, and that's respectable. That's where he prioritized his fighting at. And that leaves Crawford with different options and a new option, which is, hey, man, we've been talking about me possibly going up to fight Canelo. Initially, Crawford was saying that he wasn't sure about 68. He would kind of stop maybe, I think, at 54, maybe a catch weight over that if plausible. But one thing we got to do is shout out to the Breakfast Club and Charlemagne the God, because Charlemagne the God got extremely good clarity. When Canelo came up there, Canelo expressed the same sentiment. Like, like Crawford said, it's kind of, we'll have to meet in a good space where the glory is at its highest. Canelo was saying there's really nothing in it for him, and Crawford was kind of saying there's nothing in it for him, and they're trying to find a balance, and they've kind of talked it out through the interviews that they have been doing, because Terence Crawford is on his victory tour after defeating Earl Spence soundly, and then Canelo is on a campaign tour for Jamel. So we got a lot of working parts in boxing, which is awesome. Now, Terence Crawford, I guess after talking and interviewing a lot, over the last few week or months, Canelo on the Breakfast Club got pinned down. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. Charlemagne the God said, hey, man, we need to see that fight. The media asked for it a little bit. I agree. I'm not opposed to that. So he says, Charlemagne the God says, look, what fight weight do we need to see this at? What do you can and cannot do? He got great clarity. He said, I'm not going anywhere. This is Canelo. I'm not doing anything outside of fighting at 168. That's where I'm fighting at. I can't make 160. I can't jump down. I can't do this. I won't do that. So Canelo was pretty clear on his position on exactly what it is that he wanted to do as far as the boxing game and what he could do with Crawford. Crawford, I guess, thought about it and heard it and listened and found out and learned that there's no wiggle room from Canelo as of now. And Terence Crawford, I guess, from on the Joe Rogan podcast, prior to that or in between coming up to that, he decided in his head that, you know what, fuck it. He said 68. Let me actually look at that. Let me look at the plausibility of me actually going up to 168. And I'm sure Crawford and Bomac now are having conversations, along with Bernie the boxer, who seems to be extremely smart, Those guys are coming up with game plan. Those guys are not in the lab just sitting around. It's very easy for you to have these options on the table and it be realistic when you live the fighter lifestyle. See, this is the key about Crawford. If Crawford's one of these guys like Tank Davis, that has shown, a lack of discipline in the past, or even Canelo has had some lapse in discipline in the past. Jamel has had some injuries, lack of discipline in the past. Anyways, pretty solid on the pound for pound list. But if it was any chinks in the armor of Terence Crawford, I would have said to myself, you know what? I would have said to myself that I don't know if he could fight Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I would be hesitant to have that as a reality. I would have been extremely hesitant. All right. Let me do one thing. Y'all might hear me moving because I'm coming sliding out here to my garage real quick. So anyway, if Terence Crawford was not as credible as he was to me, and this is to 78 easy working Gambenio and Money Brown and all those who are detractors of this fight. I'm with you. I can understand it. I'm saying it like this. I have nothing but absolute marvel and respect for Terence Crawford, man. I really do. And it's growing every day. And the more and more he talks, the more and more I'm with him. I believe in his talent. I believe in his discipline. I believe in his heart. I believe in his soul, his mind, his switch hitting, his every punch he throws. I believe in. I believe in his legs. I believe in his lateral movement. I believe in his inside game. I believe in his clinch game. I believe in his ability to know his limits. And I just think that he's come up with an idea in his head. And this is a rough draft. I understand the difference between a complete affirmation of this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stomp down and I'm going to fight Canelo blindly because I'm looking for a payday. But it's more to Terence Crawford than that. Terence Crawford sits. He's a thinking man. He talked it out live in HD about what his thoughts were. He said it. And then I think he's come to a conclusion that he can stretch up to 68 to fight Charlo and Canelo. I don't understand why people keep skipping that part as well. It's not like he's saying I'm just in it for Canelo. He's saying I'm in it for the winner of the two. Not to suggest that this is going to materialize, but he's saying that I will go to 68 and I will fight the winner of Mayo and Canelo. Makes perfect sense to me. These are 2 pound for pound great middleweights at the current time. If he's going to be great, it can't be at this point Janabek just to get a title. It can't be Tim Tszyu is great. Don't get it twisted because Tim Tszyu is a hard worker. Don't get it twisted. And I believe that's a good transitional fight. And I believe Earl Spence is a good fighter too. I understand Tank is a good fighter too. And there's some options there for him to collect a multitude of fights between the range of pound for pound fighters. I mean, maybe we get Canelo and maybe we get Tank, or maybe we get Earl Spence, Tank, and Boots. It's a range of options, right? There's an array of options. But for him and for us, we're saying that we want these guys to do things to surpass Muhammad Ali. We want these guys to pass Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Bob Fitzsimmons, Sam Langford, Wildcat, Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong. We got to support the fighter that shows us evidence that he can do that. If Terence Crawford was a bullshit dude, I'd be like, okay, he bullshit. Man, this man deadlift 400 plus pounds. Now listen, don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you guys that weightlifting, this is boxing. You don't play boxing. This is not a weightlifting contest. Do not twist that thought process up. But it is a additive when you can measure one's strength and compare it to their skill set and what they have done in the ring. Bud is extremely strong. And that strength materialized into boxing very well. This is not a blocky guy like Jeff Lacey. He's not a Kell Brook. He's not an Anthony Joshua. Like Anthony Joshua, you could tell lift weights. His body puts on muscle extremely well, and he has that look. And then sometimes, you know, he gas, and sometimes he just look a little bit robotic. You could tell that Anthony Joshua gains muscle very well. The guy probably could be a tight end or a linebacker in football. Let's be real with it. But you could tell that his strength and him getting up to 250 actually affects his boxing. But for some reason, Terence Crawford has this Mayweather effect about himself where they're extremely and deceptively strong for their body structures and build. Everybody that's strong don't have to look like a goddamn tank, like, or a blocky, swole nigga. Everybody's not gonna have that puffy, thick neck linebacker look. That doesn't always suggest strength. It doesn't always suggest power. It doesn't always suggest endurance. Sometimes you're going to get a strong athlete that is lean and cut, and that's the way their body is built. Okay? It doesn't mean because somebody's slim or somebody is lean, it's a lack of strength and lifting power and mobility. Crawford body is just built for boxing. It is what it is. And with him living the fighter's lifestyle, paired with the strength, is the scary part. It's not that he's just living the fighter's lifestyle and he's been disciplined. It's the fact that he can net, okay, and jack up 440 something plus pounds, man, and he do it on a consistent basis, and he don't do it to the extreme to where, well, that's all we see him doing, like he's a running back. He ain't Shaquan Barkley. He's not a Dalvin Cook. He's not sitting there like Nick Chubb preparing for a football game, deadlifting just to deadlift. This man is deadlifting to give you a measure of his strength. And this man is extremely strong. You guys, I get it. 78, I get it. I get it, easy work. I get it, Gambenio. Not to suggest that they're all lumped in one. It's just me responding, giving my opinion about the fight with Terence Crawford. Crawford, let me tell you something. I'm not being funny, but I think you guys need to really understand what 400 pounds is. I know that in the day-to-day life, most of you guys, you know, maybe 200 plus, anywhere from 150 to 200 pounds. And the people you interact with, you may get some big monster guys out there that you know there's 250, 260, you know, some 280s out there. But that ain't 400 pounds. That's not even 300 pounds. When you start getting over 225 and you start talking about weight, and you start getting into the 315s and the 415s, listen to me carefully. You're talking about moving some serious weight in comparison to 140 pounds, 147 pounds, 154 pounds, 160 pounds, 168 pounds, man, even up to 75. But let's cap it at 75 because we know those two monsters are up there and they ain't playing around, Bivol and Bertuvia. So let's cut that out. But 68 is not, even if Canelo comes in at damn near 185, that ain't shit on no 400-pound lifting ass guy, which you obviously know if he deadlifting 400, he damn sure can implement 300 and 200 pounds in his everyday training camp. So if he's lifting 400 pounds and there's a avenue in which we're concerned about strength or we need more strength, although he's demonstrated how extremely strong he is, how does that apply to Canelo? Well, so if he's lifting 1 + 1 equal 2, if he's lifting 400 fucking pounds on a deadlift playing around, what do you think he can incorporate in a training camp with weights to get him where he needs to be? That can be up up to 225, and Canelo ain't fucking 225. It don't even matter if he come in at 180 or whatever. And then you got to think, whatever Canelo does, he's going to sacrifice some things too, because it's some fact that speed is something that Bud would have over Canelo, in my opinion. Lateral movement, foot speed, and hand speed will be something that Bud brings to the table that Canelo has to be concerned about. In this strength, I don't know if Canelo, and here's the thing, I think that if Terence Crawford makes or enroll in making sure that Canelo is not on any juice or any kind of foul play, I think Canelo is going to lose the fight to Terence Crawford at 168. As long as Crawford don't go in here as a fan and concede all this stuff that's not going to be in his favor. I'm not talking about who walks out last, because we know Canelo will be the money man. That is all respect to him. It will be Crawford jumping up to 68, challenging the money man. I get it. Canelo is the truth. He deserves it. He earned it, especially at 168. But as long as Terence Crawford check the blood work of Canelo Alvarez and nothing goes into his system extra, this is Canelo I'm talking about, because he's had issues in the past, he's going to get whooped by Terence Crawford. He is going to get whooped by Terence Crawford, in my opinion, because I've already seen this body structure in this roundabout skill set in there with Canelo. I've seen how he reacts to Lara. Not to say Lara won that fight, don't get it twisted. I've seen him in there against Miguel Cotto. I've seen him in there against Floyd Mayweather. Those are smaller guys. Cotto for 140, Mayweather 130, Lara 154. These are slender, smaller guys. Cotto a little bit more on the bulkier side, but that guy has a great jab. That guy lead hand is his strong hand. Canelo, not Canelo, but Cotto was a left-handed orthodox fighter, and that lead strong hand gave Canelo some pause. It gave Mayweather some pause. Cotto having that ability in his lead hand being his strong hand has shown me spaces in which Crawford can be successful coming from the southpaw position with his strong lead hand in front. I've seen Cotto have success with a strong lead hand and be coming from being a smaller man against Canelo. I've seen Mayweather dance all night on him. I've seen Lara Terence Crawford would be able to do, but Terence Crawford is a complete fighter, man, until he's not. If he gets in there and Canelo counterpunch him and knock him out, okay, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not a trick. It's not a nanny boo-boo type thing. I want to see Crawford go up here, and I want to see him attempt to get the scalp of Canelo at 168 and Jamel. I'm just not harping on Jamel because in my mind, I believe that Canelo is going to stop Jamel between 7 and 9. I just believe that Canelo is going to stop Jamel, and I think that's a good fight because it's an undisputed Jamel versus a undisputed Canelo Alvarez. I think that's fair. I think that's good. The fight is overdue. And Jamel's always wanted to fight Canelo. Jamal's always wanted to fight Canelo. And we know Benavidez is there. We get it. We understand. That's going to probably come soon. I believe that 3 fights are going to be Jamel, Jamal, and Benavidez. Okay? I'm not even sure if Crawford would get this fight. I'm just giving you if it were to be a fight. I don't think Crawford is going to get the fight. I think that the PBC is going to line both Charlos up. I think he beats Mel. I think Maul and him have a good fight. And I think Benavidez gives Canelo an extremely tough fight if you're going to allow Benavidez to continue to grow and get good fights that will polish his skills like an Andrade and maybe a David Morrell, who he's expressed that he want to fight. Because Benavidez is getting better. So I believe that Benavidez versus Canelo is a huge fight on the third fight of the PBC. But in between it, I think you get both Charlos, and I think Canelo beat both Charlos. Okay, even though I think Mayo gives him a tougher fight as of now. I believe that Crawford and Canelo are going to probably dance and bounce off each other to sell fights based on a proposed fantasy fight. I believe that we could get Crawford and Canelo if something dramatic happened and there's an opportunity. But I believe that the trajectory for Crawford is going to be Tim Tszyu for the vacant WBO belt. And I think that he's going to rematch Earl Spence Jr. at 154. And I think that something, I don't know where to be left after that, but I believe Tim Tszyu and Earl Spence is the two priorities of Canelo for Terence Crawford at 154. I think that's the trajectory. I think that's what we get. I think that's what it is, in my opinion. I don't see anything outside of that. So I'm not even sure if Canelo versus Terence Crawford actually materialize and lines up to where we can see that fight. I just believe that in a proposed fight, I think is reasonable. I think is solid. I have complete trust in Terence Crawford. I think he just needs to circle his wagon to make sure Canelo don't pull no bullshit. For juicing, PEDs, I don't care what y'all say. I'm supporting Terence Crawford. You can make it a black thing. You can make it a Mexican thing. You know me, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit at all, goddammit. Because this is one of these times where I believe in Terence Crawford because he's a boxer. Now, if we're going to start doing, let me let y'all know right now, I don't give a fuck about none of that black-white shit over here. If you want to put me in the train that I'm just supporting black fighters and all that, well, nigga, I am. When it comes to Crawford, I am. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. You can't knock me off my square with fake racism. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Now, I got a black family. I'm from a black city. I do black things. I'm not worried about none of that. My guns are black. I'm not worried about none of that. You know what I'm saying? I get a black. I don't care shit about none of that. Yes, when it comes to Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, I am waving the black flag. So I want y'all to know that shit now, so y'all won't have no misunderstandings about where the fuck Zone 6 coming from. If you want to go into social constructs, I'm telling you right now that I'm rooting for my black nigga, motherfucking Terence Crawford, to whoop the piss out of fucking Canelo Alvarez at 168. I don't want y'all, don't listen here. You heard it from Zone 6 himself. I ain't on nobody else shit. I'm letting you know that when it comes to that part, you can go on and skip me because I'm letting you know that I'm letting my nuts hang and that, yes, I am also rooting for Terence Crawford because he black. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. So we clear on that. I respect all you guys. And it is what it is, but I'm going to have my black bandana, and I'm going to have my fucking black shades on, and it's all black, and I'm going with Terence Crawford if the fight is made. That's just straight up what it is. Now, however, I'm not sure that the fights take place because of what I just said. I think that the Charlos and Benavidez is going to have Canelo preoccupied. And I think that Crawford is going to be preoccupied with transitioning up, period. Okay? Which means Spence, we may get a Thurman because that's coming back around. We may get a Thurman and we may get a Tszyu. We may get Tszyu, Spence, and we may get Keith Thurman. So I think that those fights are the best ones that could possibly materialize within the realm of boxing for these guys, in my opinion. Okay? So only thing I'm saying, as long as Crawford makes sure that he ain't up there and get jammed up with juicing and the shit that Canelo tends to like to do, we should be pretty much good across the board. So why Terence Crawford should go to 168, in my opinion, as a response video to all specifically 78 Sports TV, Easy Work, Gambino, whoever else. I got Terence Crawford being Canelo Alvarez at 168 as of right now. Do I think the fight's going to happen? Absolutely not as of right now. Would I like it? Absolutely so. Are there other options for both combatants? Absolutely so. Do I like all the other options for Canelo and or Crawford? Absolutely so. Is Crawford ducking anybody right now at this current moment? Absolutely not. Is Canelo ducking anybody at this current moment? Absolutely not. Is there other fights that I want to see between these two pound-for-pound greats? Absolutely. Do they have to fight each other? No, not necessarily. Would I like to see it? Yes. Jermell Charlo decided to leave 154 and jump up and challenge himself at 168. So that is what it is. You got to respect it. It is what it is. It ain't no other caveat to the rule, and that's all we got. I'm gonna say this. I supported the fight. I bought the fight. I always buy the pay-per-views, and I support Canelo, and I also support Terence Crawford. So when it comes to purchasing the product or the pay-per-view between the two combatants and the athletes, I'm always an advocate of supporting these guys. So if there's a scenario in a case in which Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford can come on together and have this all-time great fight, I'm with it, because a lot of us boxing fans, we always talk about Henry Armstrong. We do all these documentaries. Blood won't stop talking about them. Boxing Librarian, they always talk about these guys. Ain't none of these guys can ever do to surpass Archie Moore. None of these guys can't pass Joey Maximum, Bobo Olsen, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Fabulous Four. Nobody can never pass Marvin Hagler, none of that. But this is an opportunity in which that happens. Roberto Duran did it all the way from 135 up to 168. Okay, so it's not ridiculous for Terence Crawford to come from where? 135 to go to 168. That's not far-fetched. That makes perfect sense. And Crawford and Roberto Duran has similar height and or dimensions. And Canelo ain't no Iron Barkley or none of those guys at the classic 168s. Canelo is in that wheelhouse that allows Terence Crawford for scaling physical dimensions to make that plausible and make that feasible. And especially when you look at Jermell Charlo compared to Canelo right now, look at the dimensions on that. Jermell Charlo is a big 154-pounder who's scaling up to dare to be great at 168, and you can see the size difference right there in between that. Now, we know Canelo has great record against bigger fighters, but against a smaller, sleeker fighter, he struggles. Erislandy Lara was a controversial win. Mayweather danced all night on him. Mayweather schooled him. Miguel Cotto gave him some work. He didn't stop none of these guys that are lesser. He stops the bigger body guys, the bigger target. And when you're talking about being a shorter athlete or a shorter guy who has strength, power, and explosive ability to do that, it's easier for a strong, shorter guy to fight bigger guys because, one, you're next to their body. You're next to their body and you're right up under their chin. And they're bigger targets. It's real easy for short. Now, I'm not talking about if you're a small weakling. If you're a small guy or shorter guy and you have physical components that's on par with the bigger guys, it is not that hard to render them unconscious or do something to them because they're big moving targets. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about Crawford, who's deadlifting 440 something pounds. I don't give a damn if you weigh 160 or 180. 180, 190, 200 pounds as a man, and a man has the ability to move 400, 500 pounds. You got some room right there to make a fight with a guy. It doesn't matter. 168 is not that big for a man like we think it is. It's good for a world-class athlete because they take 2 months to cut down. But 168, 170 pounds, man, that's not a lot of weight. We're not talking about Deontay Wilder, Big Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua walking around at 250 goddamn pounds. Even Wilder, who's a smaller heavyweight, who's about 219. Well, sorry, I said Anthony Joshua 250, but Wilder walking around at 209, 219. And it's ironic that Deontay Wilder has the same scaling as Terence Crawford, and we believe that Deontay Wilder can hold his weight at heavyweight, and he's outweighed by 170 pounds sometimes, maybe even 100 pounds. Who knows? But the scale at heavyweight is crazy. But Wilder has that same structure built as Terence Crawford, but he's nowhere as skillful as Crawford. Wilder got a monster right hand, and Terence Crawford got multiple hands that he can stop you from multiple angles, not just the right. So if we give Deontay Wilder a scaling chance based on his physical attributes against Tyson Fury, and I definitely got him stopping AJ, right? You know what I'm saying? I definitely give Terence Crawford, based on scaling and physicality, a chance against Canelo. I like Canelo. I like Terence Crawford. These are pound for pound greats. We need to see the fight if it happens. I don't think nobody's setting Crawford up to get beat up. I don't think anybody's picking on Crawford. These are multimillionaires. They don't have these guys are not working at Publix and taking care of a fucking family and going to school and doing all these other caveats and then have to worry about fighting in the ring. They fight twice a year. They're getting 20 million, 30 millions. Only thing they have to do is wake up and discover and learn their body on a consistent basis and see how you can scale up and get bigger. Man, 135, 140 pounds, 150 pounds, 60 pounds, 68. Man, that's not a lot of poundage for a guy who's sitting on multi-millions of dollars and he fight twice a year and he's comfortable, and the only thing he got to do is maneuver around his family and take his ass to the gym, knowing that is going to net a comfortable feeling for himself. These guys these are pound for pound guys. These guys have nothing else to do but dedicate themselves to boxing. And I believe in Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. He lives a fighter lifestyle. You don't hear about the guy doing nonsense out in the streets. The only thing we got to make sure of is that he tests Canelo. Canelo's had some shaky shit in the past with Cambrutterol and PDs. As long as Terence Crawford make him give up that blood, Crawford gonna whoop his ass at 68. Especially after I saw what Mayweather did, and I'm gonna be studying Mayweather, Cotto, and Erislandy Lara, and even Austin Trout to a degree. Canelo struggled against those slender, sleeker, mobile guys. No matter how you like it. If you think Andrade has a chance against Canelo, surely you think Crawford has a chance against Canelo. I mean, let's knock it off. So it's not that someone's picking on Canelo, it's not that deep for me on this side. I can't speak for the trolls. And again, you're hearing it from your boy right now. I know I like Canelo, and I get it. I know sometimes y'all try to put people in boxes when they pick a black fighter, a Mexican fighter, and this like that. I'm letting you know, goddamn right now. You say what the fuck you want to say. I'm going with Crawford because he's black. When them two fight, I want you to know that right now. I don't want it to be no fucking misunderstanding. I don't want it to be no confusion. So you could go ahead and tag me as in. I'm going with the black fighter against Canelo, and that's Terence Crawford, not Jamel. Okay, not Jamal unless Jamal show me something different. But that's what I'm gonna be doing. So that's all I got so far, man. I just wanted to cook on that. It's been a couple of days. Shout out to Red Glove Militant. I see you in here. Buckle up. I see you. Let me see. Bud made a statement in a recent interview saying there are weight classes for a reason. Yes, he did, and he's rescinded that because Charlamagne the God straight up said, shit, hey, what's the weight that we could do to fight at? And Canelo said 68, and Crawford heard it, and now we know what the standard is. All right, let's see. We here. Tank versus Bud would be a spectacle for sure. That's a good one. Buckle up back here again. If Bud gets led to believe he can fight at 168, he getting beaten up. All right, if you think he getting beat up, I'm with you on that. Tank versus Inoue, that'll be a good one as well too. Bud 2-time. We got some support for Bud. Juice Lee, what's up? Okay, I see you. Regular Juice, what's up? Dolomite, 400 deadlift. He got explosive power. Exactly. See, the deadlift, it ain't about. It's not like we saying that Canelo gonna be getting deadlifted in the ring. It's just that when you deadlift, certain exercises produces power from a position in which you guys don't understand. And deadlifting is one of those things. We're not talking about bench pressing where his arms are getting bulkier and he might lose some of his punch fluidity. That's not what Crawford is doing. We're talking about a deadlift. All right? So that's something totally different, and you guys might need to go look up what that is and what happens there. I'm not opposed to anybody suggesting that Crawford gonna get his ass whooped by Canelo at 168 because Canelo is a dog. But we talking about pound for pound number 1 versus pound for pound number 2. We got to get that. And even with Inoue and Tank, y'all know Tank is my guy. Tank versus Inoue, that's probably 3 and 4. Those two guys, that works. I mean, is it a possible scenario in which we get a Inoue versus Tank and then a Canelo versus Crawford, and then maybe if Crawford and Tank is successful, maybe we get an ultimate fantasy match between those two? It's too many combinations in boxing, and there's a lot going on there. So, I mean, y'all got to look at Crawford, man. If it went for the fighter's lifestyle, I would kind of have some reservations. See, like I always thought Jamal would beat Canelo. That's what I always said, and that's what I've always believed. But this is the thing, and this is the problem with Jamal. Jamal has issues going on. Issues. You know, he got the wife problem. He got his brother wife slapping his wife. So the twins, they got a lot of stuff going on outside of just regular boxing. And I like Maul, but I can't pick that against Canelo. Canelo's way too disciplined in regards of the game of boxing for me to pick Jamal, who's been out of the ring. I know he's probably working out, but I need to see some consistency to pick him against Canelo as an athlete or a person who's trying to fight in a boxing ring. So it's not like I'm just picking just to pick. I'm picking with some type of logic behind it. And if you're not going to that's why I would pick against Jamal, because of the lack of the fighter lifestyle. Not to say that he's bad. It's just fighter lifestyle also include boxing, actually in the ring, not just jump rope and road working outside of it. That's just staying in shape. But part of it is also getting the fights. And Jamal, man, he ain't fought in damn near 2 years, man. I'm not finna pick that nigga against no Canelo, but I'm gonna pick Crawford against Canelo. And what's crazy about this shit is I actually believe that this is crazy. I believe that Jamel would beat Crawford at 154. I think that would be the case. But if he go out there and he fight Canelo, he finna get stopped between 7 and 9, have some damage. His belts is gonna probably be stripped. Once he loses Canelo, the sanctioning body's got this thing where they be like, oh man, this man lost. Let me really strip him. He already finna lose the WBO belt. And after he loses Canelo, he's going to be stripped down and he's going to have to refine himself. He may just have to land at 160, and he may have to just leave the Crawford fight alone, because I think Crawford wouldn't want to fight him if he lose in devastating fashion. Because there's nothing for Terence Crawford in male force glory at that point. If he get brutalized by Canelo, Jamel probably might need to take a break. It's just, he's not going to be undisputed at 154. So what is Crawford doing at that point? If he fights Zoo for the belt, he'll have a belt. He'll be another world champion in another weight class. And if he fight Earl Spence, maybe a defense of the WBO or maybe a vacant belt because of the money, maybe he becomes a unified 154-pound champion en route to fighting Canelo Alvarez. All right. That was just my thoughts, right? Okay, now Bruce Gas, I hear you. You saying deadlifting 400 ain't no big thing. Yeah, okay. It may or may not be. Y'all said that last time, and then Earl Spence got in here and got obliterated. Okay? All right, it bad. Jeff Holmes is basically a middleweight, and look how he handled him. Exactly. Canelo ain't juiced. If Canelo ain't juiced, it's over with. I agree. That's what I'm trying to tell them, man. If Canelo not on something, he's gonna gas out toward the back end of the fight. All right, I got you. Let me see. Canelo gonna send Crawford to sleep. I can see that. But I can see Canelo getting his ass shredded to pieces, and I think Canelo could possibly stop I can see Canelo getting shredded to pieces, and I can see Crawford stopping him, TKO style. Crawford's pretty strong, man. I just believe in Crawford, and I like that. Let me see. Buckle up. Let me see. Crawford versus Jamel or Tim Tszyu at 154. That's what we need. Agreed. But Mel is doing his thing. Okay. I see. Let me use this because it's okay. Tim Tszyu versus Bud in Australia. Tim Tszyu need to. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, but he better make sure he stop him in Australia. That's all I'm gonna say. Bud better make sure he stop him, because if Bud fall on his sword, I don't see the Canelo fight materializing. Let me see. Okay, let's look at what Juice Lee says. Wilder and Bud had lanky, core strength, but agreed. Bud is the most complete boxer we've seen in a long time. I agree. Let me see what else we got. I'm going with the black guy too. Yeah, I'm letting you know. I don't want you to feel no type of way. I don't want you to feel like there's an issue or anything like that. Yeah, Crawford being black won't help him. It won't, but I'm rooting for him just in case people want to know what it is. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we got. Well, he should defend undisputed at 147 or go to 154 to fight Tim Tszyu. Okay, that's a response to, yeah, all those are options. I don't think we're going to get the fight, to be honest with you, because I think that, I don't think we're going to get the fight. I think they're just going to be a lot of, I don't think it's going to line up unless they make a conservative effort to really line it up. And Puro, yep, that's what you brought it. Yeah, make it clear. I know you is. I'm going for the Mexican. Yeah, I'm going for Terence Crawford to whoop his ass at 168 if it happens. Now, I ain't going, don't get it twisted now. I ain't going for no goddamn Jamel this September. I definitely don't agree with that. I would go with Maul if Maul hadn't had so many issues right now. So, and depending on how he look out of those two, I might pick Benavidez over Canelo, because Canelo gasses out toward the back end of the fight, and that's where I see an opportunity for Crawford. Crawford could get a late stoppage like 11-12, some type of classic stuff. We may see Crawford wobble Canelo, and that'd be a surprise. That'd be something that's different. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so listen, that's my response. It's been an hour. I just want to give you guys my entire take on it as a response to 78 Sports TV, Easy Work, Gambino. I was on Money Brown last night real quick. These are my thought process about the boxing game and the recent Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford talking, man. I'm extremely impressed, man. The man said on Joe Rogan, he talked it out. We heard it live in HD, but his thought was he had respect for 68. He said he wouldn't do this, he wouldn't do that. And then as we kept talking about it, he said, hey, you know what? It's options. It's play. It's in play. So I like that. I like that. And you got to respect how he came to that conclusion and how he came to that point for himself. And he released it on Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is the time when you would do that, because it's major views there. I also like the support that Charlemagne the God have given. I like that he pinned it down, that get Canelo to say 68 or nothing. So that gives Bud a choice to kind of analyze how he would make that decision. So this covers everything, and I think that's where we at. That's my opinion. I got Bud beating Canelo at 168, all-time great fight. If either one of them win, they're probably going to be the best in this era. But I need Bud to win that fight. I'm rooting for him. I need him to fight. to win that fight. If Bud win that fight against Canelo Alvarez, plus some additional fights like the rematch with Errol Spence, I think I'm gonna have that man in my top. I know top 10 for sure. If you minus heavyweights, my top 5 will look like this. Hypothetically, say he beats Canelo. I'm gonna say this. I'll give y'all a few more minutes. If y'all got questions for me about what's happening in boxing, cause I know I come on here sometimes, every once a week or something like that. If you got questions and you want to ask me questions directly, you can type them down. I answer those, and then get on out here Sunday. I got some moving around to do. You know how I go. But I said, let me get on here for a second because it's a lot going on in boxing. So if you got questions, I'll answer those and highlight them, and we'll do what we do. Now, my top 5, taking heavyweights out. I'm going to have that boy Sugar Ray Robinson, number 1. 135, he was unmatched. He beat the undisputed champion. He didn't collect the belt. It's an untitled match. Welterweight undisputed champion, unmatched at 135. Probably one of the greatest welterweights and lightweights of all time. You don't pick anybody to beat Sugar Ray Robinson at 35 or 47. I don't care who he is. You also 160. He's a 5-time middleweight champion of the world. Sugar Ray Robinson. He went up to fight Joey Maximum for the light heavyweight championship of the world. He lost because of heat exhaustion. He had to stop on his stool. That's a bad boy. Henry Armstrong. My number 2. Sam Langford is in there, number 3. He might be my number because he went up and scaled it. And I'm talking about pound for pound, little guys that scaled this weight class. Pacquiao Floyd is in there. Cotto. I would have Crawford. Damn, Tito Trinidad. I think I would have Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, Sam Langford, man. That motherfucker. That nigga was goddamn 5'7", man, and he was knocking out heavyweights like a motherfucker. Like that nigga 5 times. Like he started from welterweight and scaled up to heavyweight. Y'all know what Sam Langford do. He might be pound for pound the hardest box puncher in ever that God created. Cause you talking about knocking out, man. You talking about getting in there with Jack Johnson and Black Murder. He was on Black Murder also. That's gonna be tough for Crawford to overcome. But I would have him behind Sam Langford on some pound for pound shit. I would have him over Pacquiao. Pacquiao never cleaned. I would have him over Mayweather. Mayweather lack of undisputedness. Who else? Holyfield. Shit. God damn, Holyfield. I forgot Holyfield killed the game at cruiserweight and then went up to heavyweight. Shit. If he beat Canelo, yeah, he in there. He top 5. Langford, Holyfield, Robinson, Henry Armstrong, and Terence Crawford. Whew. I had to do, oh man. If Crawford do that shit, depending on what he do in between going to Canelo, that could change the game too. Because picking up another title, if he do something low down and pick up a title against Zoo, then just say fuck it, and then maybe against Errol Spence, unify real quick, fuck it, drop it, go up to 160, do something at 160, and then beat Canelo. Yeah, that's gonna be heavy. That's gonna be heavy. If he beat Zoo, beat Earl Spence, collect 2 titles at 154, jump up to 160, beat up Danny Garcia, who hiding out at 160 for a vacant belt or some bullshit, or let alone if he beat Janibek. And then get the Canelo fight at 168 to top it off with undisputed. I have to Sugar Ray Robinson and Henry Armstrong. I'm gonna have to do some research. That's how crazy that would be. Like, I know for sure Crawford would land at number 3, but I would try to figure out how over Henry Armstrong and Sugar Ray Robinson. And we sitting here talking about, and say make my partner now, but we saying like it's a thing. Don't mind us in the background. I'm in the garage just having a good smoke with the queen, the castle. So don't mind if you hear some smoking. Y'all know how we do. So anyway, look. And as I'm smoking, I'm thinking about this. What y'all got? Let me see something. Okay, Juice Lee. Bud would be the GOAT to me. 3-time undisputed, 4-time lineal. Whew, that's heavy. Man, if this man, listen, that's heavy. That is heavy. Let me see. I'm going to go back to this one. I like this comment here. All right, Sam Langford, the lightweight who fought Jack Johnson. Sam Langford was crazy. Was a crazy motherfucker. All right, that Sam Langford. And I know sometimes we forget about these guys because it was, it's long, but not that long ago. Like, this motherfucker, this was in the 1900s. Most of y'all was born. These niggas are still alive. Like, we know these niggas still alive when some of us was, like, born. These guys ain't that old. We ain't talking about goddamn 34 years before AD. Like, we're not, no, this is recent. These guys are around. Holyfield's still alive and shit. Like, these ain't people that we get. Holyfield, you can go check his pound for pound run, so it ain't no excuse. And see, that's the thing, like, not to get off topic, but just brainstorming about where I would place Bud at. For me to have that conversation, it leads me back to Canelo. I'm just being honest with you. Because Canelo's a bad motherfucker. And outside of making sure that motherfucker ain't got no PEDs, man, that's a big kill right there. And if we want to say, even from a social position, and we do the black, white, Mexican, Filipino thing because boxing is worldwide. Yeah, he go whoop Canelo ass. Remember, y'all got to think Canelo is the first undisputed 168-pound champion. Think about this. Let this nigga get some good defense. Like, I have been a beat ass too, look. But let Charlo, if Charlo fights is overdue, let's not knock it. You know what I'm saying? Let's not play like we didn't want to see these fights. So I don't give a fuck about it being 168. It could supposed to happen at 154. We ain't finna play like we still. No, because for some reason these 68ers, even though they ain't fine, they're aging pretty goddamn well. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know if because they get to eat more, and they don't have the stress of draining. But Canelo's still solid. Eubank and all them niggas up there, they good, man. They good. Caleb Plant still is good. Like, they all right. Like, the fights are materializing. They growed up right because Jamel is doing his thing. Like, this is a perfect time. It is a bigger fight now because Jamel is fucking undisputed at 154. The previous division that Canelo was in is overdue. They supposed to be fighting. They got the triangle with Demetrius Andrade, and then now we talking about it's a lot going on at 68, man. So if Crawford go up there and beat the man at 168, it ain't shit. There you have it. Yeah, so I don't know what all the. I ain't trying to say nothing crazy, but you know, some of y'all sound kind of scared to me because y'all sound a little scared to me, like, and I say this because why not? Like, we already saw Mayweather beat, like, man, Canelo can't. I think Canelo just had problems with guys that's built like Crawford, man. That's that look. I don't know why. He just don't do well against those type of fighters, and that shit is so crazy because you look at Canelo. It's funny because Canelo's always the smaller man fighting bigger men, but the nigga had a problem with fighting smaller men himself. Like, he's so good at busting up them big guys down. Like he's really good. Like, he didn't get destroyed by Bivol. I almost can see Canelo tweaking a few things, and Canelo could be all right at 175. Canelo will be all right. He will be all right at 75. I mean, it'll be tough. It'll be tough. You know what I'm saying? But like saying Canelo shit, like comparing saying Crawford needs to go up and fight Canelo, and it be viewed as equivalent to me asking Canelo to fight Deontay Wilder, that's ridiculous. Like, that is completely fucking ridiculous. Let me say this. You guys, and look, see, that's the reversal. So if it was, see, that's how y'all think. Like, and I'm gonna say this, like, yeah, so that's like us asking Canelo to go up and fight Deontay Wilder. If Canelo tried to do that, the Deontay Wilder's fans would absolutely accept that and watch Deontay Wilder sell million pay-per-views to blow Canelo brains out on a motherfucking canvas. Man, we know goddamn well, nigga, it ain't close. Ain't nobody and they goddamn grandma fantasize about no Canelo versus no goddamn Deontay Wilder. Nigga, that shit, nigga, Deontay Wilder will kill Canelo Alvarez. We all know that. So that ain't even that's not even a thing. So it ain't gotta be reversed, because who the fuck would what idiot on this motherfucking YouTube universe would dare get on this son of a bitch and say they can see a real path for victory for Canelo Alvarez versus Deontay Wilder? Man, oh my God. Now that's trying to get a nigga killed. That right there is trying to get a nigga killed. That's not what's happening with Crawford and Canelo, man. That's not, man, no. I don't got that feeling. I don't have that level of, like, concern for Crawford being, man, come on. Now, Canelo fight Wilder, that's a nigga looking for a death sentence. Nah, shout out, Crawford ain't that. And Canelo ain't that for no motherfucking Crawford, bro. Not that the whole scene Mayweather had the nigga hitting the camera, and Erislandy Lara was slippery than a motherfucker on that nigga. I just don't. Nah, man. Crawford gonna whoop this nigga, man. I'm telling you. Crawford gonna whoop this nigga ass, man. Oh, man. I might, listen. You know what? I ain't gonna say nothing else. I hope Crawford get this one. Crawford, listen, Crawford needs this fight. I put it to you guys like this. This is no disrespect. I'm going to say it again. I think Boots and Thurman have a better chance at beating Crawford than Canelo Alvarez. That's just what I got. Crawford trying to squeeze down to 147 one more time with that father time, and Boots coming there with that shit. Now Boots a little sloppy for me, but Boots gonna come in there with that shit for Crawford ass. And nigga, he ain't Boots with that wild shit. Like, Boots ain't finna sit back and just, I give him this, he ain't finna sit back and just let Crawford. Now he don't really have to whoop Boots. Like, he gonna have to do that shit what he just did. He gonna have to do that shit again. Cause Boots ain't finna just, it's just different. I don't like Boots, and I think Boots is sloppy, and I think Crawford is gonna whoop his ass. But Boots gonna make him do it though. I think Boots and Thurman would be better for Crawford at 147 than Canelo at 168. I just don't. No. So we'll do it like this, man. That's all I got. I'm gonna keep being posted on this. Look up some more interviews and chill, and see what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop off right here, man. Hey, this is a good topic. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we won't. But again, Crawford versus Canelo. It's not me asking Wilder versus Canelo. Nobody's not. It's not comparable. No one in their right mind give Canelo a shot in hell against no fucking Deontay Wilder at heavyweight. So it's not equal. Terence Crawford actually can whoop Canelo. Like, that's a reality. There's really a path for him to whoop Canelo ass. We've seen it. There's no path. Man, that shit. Yeah, it's worse than the Avengers' chances against Thanos. Like, no. It had to be 40 Canelos beat up Wilder at one time. It's not. It would never be. Canelo would have to be on steroids, and like, I don't know, man. I don't know what he could do. I don't know. He had to shoot that nigga. I did, because Canelo's not gonna beat no Deontay Wilder. So let's knock that shit off and make it more realistic about Crawford and Canelo. Crawford absolutely fucking stands a chance against Canelo, like a real one, not no play shit. Like, actually put them long arms across that nigga head, whoop the shit out that nigga, and y'all might see Canelo do some shit that he ain't never done before, and that might be fall on the goddamn canvas. Because Mayweather's damn sure had that nigga confused with just legs. Crawford got hands and legs. Listen, and I'm gonna say this for the last time. Crawford is Mayweather if he never fucked his hands up, and he see, y'all gotta go back and look at Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy was the one that we was expecting as he transitioned up, but we get it. It is what it is. That Pretty Boy Floyd, untouchable. Money, he danced all night. He used his brain. He did what he did. Crawford is Pretty Boy, still being Pretty Boy. Like, Crawford is the Mayweather that we kind of wanted. And I'm telling you, he gonna show you that if he fight that boy Canelo Alvarez. Think about that now. And then we still compare Crawford to, because think about that now. Mayweather's going up to fight Canelo. They was like, oh no, don't do it. When Pacquiao went up to fight De La Hoya, oh no, don't do it. Usyk up to AJ, oh no, don't do it. Holyfield, Tyson, oh no, don't you do that. No, don't. It's a lot of examples of guys moving up and really whooping some niggas' ass. So, and I think this one of them times. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. I'm finna get ready to get on out of here. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday.